Okay, hey Ron, welcome to my startup founder interview show. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's been great meeting you at a few of my different events, the health tech event and AI startup event, and it's always a pleasure seeing you. But it's great to get you on here and find out more about what your background is and what you're working on. So, uh, yeah, great to have you on. First off,
Thank you very much, Brendan, for having me as your guest today here on your for the interview here. Very much appreciate it a lot. Like you said, it's been to quite a few of your events already in person. Great events that you've been doing in the health tech and the AI area for in-person networking. It's been great. But yes, always good to do these types of uh, virtual interviews too as well.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, and because I know that you work in all sorts of areas of information technology, and you have a lot of
Mhm.
experience doing that, and you have your own company that you started now, and we'll get all into that. But just before I jump into that, do you mind just telling me a bit about your background, how you ended up in the NYC area, and how you ended up getting into IT in the first place, maybe?
Sure, sure. So born and raised here in NYC. So that's how I became to live here.
That's a
uh,
good way to do it.
exactly. How I first got started in the tech area when I was worked in like a word processing program. I'm like, no, he says you can type, you can get spell checking. I was like, oh wow, that's great. So then so I said, all right, sure, why not? Show me what this type of computer can do. And and I learned from there throughout high school, took certain computer courses in there. After I graduated high school, I worked on in the Wall Street financial district area for over 10 and a half years, where I got worked in the IT department from mainframes to PCs, computer hard networks, and firewalls and all that good stuff as well. So a lot of it was on the job training that I received, and that's where I've gained a lot of my knowledge and skill sets as where I'm at today as well. Um, Both from a technical standpoint and from a business operations standpoint as well, Brendan. So spending 10 and a half years in the financial district area, after that moving into the healthcare IT area, where I worked for two New York City hospitals underneath the HHC brand, and that was a great experience there as well. Spent over a year there, and then moved into the nonprofit sector in 2005, where I worked for a nonprofit company that provided free to low cost health insurance for individuals or family depending on their annual income. This is when video conferencing was getting big, and the two big players at the time was Polycom and Cisco at that point as well. So you see how my career has gone so far. So I spent about 2.5 years there. Then broke out on my own when I had a business partner at the time where we started a managed service provider company where we provide hardware, software, such vendors we've used from Microsoft to Cisco to for computer hardware, software, phone sets as well, phone systems we did. Um, Spent a little bit there, a couple of years there. And at the end of 2022, decided to shut down the company due to like I was spreading myself too thin. So wanted to refocus on where I
That can
wanted to
happen. That can happen. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, where I wanted to focus on more two primary areas. So this is when I had my new startup coming as I have right now, which is more on business continuity planning and IT disaster recovery. Basically, what it is when stuff hits the fan, who do you call? What procedures, what policies do we need to do? Do we have anything in place from a backup solution to a recovery solution? Stuff like that, where I'm using different tech stacks from Microsoft to Amazon AWS and Google Cloud, stuff like that. In a sense, basically, and also when any type of was a natural disaster happens, such as a cyber attack, which you know as well as I do these days of cyber attacks been a lot of going on to different size companies. Doesn't matter what type of size company it is, they get these known as ransomware attacks and stuff like that. So this is why I help to provide a service for. So that's where I'm focusing in now.
Okay, so you started this new company that focuses on disaster recovery. Of course, we have more and more software. Of course, now there's AI is added into the mix, and yes, there's a lot of different areas where you might want to have good
Hmm.
disaster recovery. Is there a certain niche that you're focusing on, or a certain business structure that you're implementing? Like, are you implementing just consultation, or actually implementing the work for the customer? Just yeah, tell me a bit more about how it goes with what kind of customers and what kind of services you're providing exactly.
Great questions. I think I'm glad you asked me that. So yeah, so where I'm servicing is the small, medium-sized business areas in the private sector. As far as like industries, I'm in the healthcare, nonprofit sector, as well as the manufacturing supply chain areas as well. As far as the industry goes, for those types of businesses in the small, medium-sized businesses. Um, and the type of services that I'm providing is both from the IT side. It's more from the cybersecurity prevention, risk assessment, consultations, like you just mentioned. So we do give free consultations to them, to customers as well when they're looking for services like what I give to them and what I can provide to them for a solution, as well as doing providing implementation, the technical support right after the project has been completed, and also be having them as recurring customers. Now, if they want an ad hoc or one time flexibility deal to see how we do, we could do that as well. So we have a lot of great flexibility depending on what the customer is looking for and how much they're looking to spend. We have various of flexibilities and various of services that we can recommend to help out with them.
Got it. Yeah, and so as you're working with the customers, are there different parties involved too? Is it just you and the customer? Are there, like, for example, are you looping in a lot of like uh, say AWS members? Like if they use AWS, are you pulling them in, or what kind of industry people are you having to work with in order to set up an consulting and service company like this?
So definitely another good question. So offering flexibility, I don't focus on one particular vendor because I like to offer flexibility and have resources. So as far as me being also a Microsoft partner, I also partner with AWS as well as with Google Cloud. So having a variety of services, not just one particular ones, uh, gives me a lot of flexibility in case I come across different areas where a company likes, let's say, they'll love a Google work environment versus an AWS environment, or vice versa. You know, one may prefer one company over another because of their services and whatever features they may have that fits their purpose.
Yeah, and is it easier to work with certain customers versus others? Are there some that are very safety conscious or security conscious, and then others that are not? And is it tough to work with them if they're not so if they just sort of want to check the box and move on and not worry too much about it?
Well, each customer is different and in every way. Some are easy to work with. Some can be a little bit more difficult. Each environment is different that my company steps into. We are not a cookie cutter type of IT company. We offer, like I said, flexibility in various services that I've mentioned.
Uh,
So each environment that we go into and that we evaluate is different. So each type of setup is different in a company's IT environment. It could be easy and simple to do, or it could be very complex where it'll take a little bit more thought process to plan out and what we're going to do to solve the problem.
Gotcha. And have you run into any big problems yet? Where, for example, you said you mentioned you worked with the hospitals. I know a
Hmm.
common attack might be ransomware, where they've
Yes.
encrypted or withheld the sensitive information of the patients, and then demand a ransom in return for unlocking it. Have you run into any of these like kind of nightmare scenarios or very stressful scenarios? I'm sure at some point you might have come into contact, and if so, what was that like?
Good question. So I have seen those type of those examples that you have mentioned as well, especially in the healthcare area for different hospitals. And a lot of hospitals have not been we're not prepared for when a ransomware attack happens. In that respect, so their IT security may not have been up to par, or not been up have the latest maybe security patches from Microsoft or from wherever they're using from an IT security standpoint. So that's one thing. Someone may have gotten an email that they opened a link that didn't look very familiar that they thought it may have been. So I've come across those types of scenarios where it's shut down a hospital environment for for over a week, if not longer, because then they have to go back to pen and paper instead of using a tablet or a laptop, whatever it may be.
Got it. Yeah. So say one of your clients, something like this does happen. They do have some kind of cyber attack,
Hmm.
and they're trying to get through it. How what's your process for working through that? I know you, so you mentioned some of it there, tracing where the hole in the security is, but do you mind just walk me through how exactly that process goes?
Sure, sure. So once we meet with a new client, regardless of what industry they might be in, we can use healthcare as an example. So if we meet with a hospital that has several services in their environment, we want to do a risk assessment for them, meaning like, okay, we're going to give them a questionnaire to fill out first to see what the environment's like, how many people, how many workstations, what's their IT infrastructure like, how many servers, stuff like that, all that good thing. Were they running Windows, what versions of Windows, etc. And we see what they're using from a firewall standpoint. They're using Palo Alto, they're using Cisco, stuff like that. For that, in our first discovery call that we mentioned, that we send them the questionnaire, and once we get the questionnaire back, then we can do a risk assessment analysis through their company network with the proper security measures already in place, basic level, just to seeing if there's any holes in the firewall or in their computer network systems that may be open to virus attacks from the outside, as well as their internal network systems that some person may have permission that they shouldn't be doing have that they can stick a peripheral in, like a external hard drive or something similar to that, and access it that way, and somehow maybe infect the whole computer environment within the facility as well. So that's some of what we do as well. We sit with the the IT team in the environment and listen to what their pain and pinpoints are from a technical standpoint, and we do a deep dive as to what their current problems are, what are they trying to resolve, uh, and we want to see what their security measures are in place in case when a ransomware attack happens. What do they have in place when that type of issue happens?
Okay. So yeah, you guys really take like a multifaceted approach, all the levels from seeing what systems they're using, what firewalls they're using, to talking
Hmm.
with the actual IT workers that are currently at that organization.
Yes.
And so, what would you find that which of those areas do you find is usually is there one that's usually the most problematic? Is there a certain area that companies or organizations like hospitals they tend to miss, and that tends to lead to the security breach, or does it tend to just be all across the board?
It sometimes they can be all across the board, but when we focus in on one particular thing, usually, especially if we're working with a small hospital facility, like a medical dental offices, stuff like that,
Yeah,
uh, using that as an example, sometimes those types of environments, they miss they're either running minimum IT security threshold, just enough just to get by, and then they
yeah,
don't have enough robust features for IT security in case a virus comes through, or like I said, they may click on an email, like a Word document or a
yeah.
spreadsheet that they get emailed to them, or somebody sent them. to them internally and didn't realize it was infected as well. So that's another area too as well. So this we focus on a lot of that. We focus on as well as the preventing outside interference coming in. We want to make sure that the internal inside of the company's IT network is safe and secure. If they're doing
Uh,
if they're doing financial transactions like payroll or taxes, stuff like that, whereas a lot of sensitive data is uh, being in production and being sent out and coming back inside and outside of the company's computer network system. So we take a hard look at what they're currently running internally before we do an outside solution requirement.
okay, so when you're saying you want it internally to be secure too, are you worried about like
Yes.
an internal threat, like someone intentionally committing fraud, or is it more like accidents people make, or what's the main concern there?
So main concern is, like you said, someone could come in for frauds.
Yeah,
Let's say you're in an executive boardroom and an outside vendor comes in doing a PowerPoint presentation, right?
yeah.
But whether they have their laptop or external hard drive, you want to have certain prerequisites of IT security measures in place. So in order for them to log on to their company's Wi-Fi, or if they're plugging directly into a uh, computer network port, they have to meet certain thresholds in order to get onto that network in order to present to that type of PowerPoint presentation, for that. And that's one example. Another example is making sure that the companies is fortified that certain rights and permissions from an end user all the way up to a C-level person team has certain rights and permissions, has certain access to what they need to do job related, and then what their job description fits for them.
Right. As I've heard it put before, you want each role or each person to have a role, and for that role to only have like the minimum privileges that person needs to do their job. Right.
Right, exactly. So if you're a CFO of a company,
Yeah.
or you're a payroll manager, you need to get out to the internet. You have to have certain access out to the internet, whether you're using a major bank like JP Morgan, Bank of America. You have to get to their bank portal, to do bank transactions, whether it be from payroll or whatever else it may be. So that those types of people and those types of job titles will have higher access and more privileges to the internet to get out and do what they need to do, job related. Now, if you're a lower end user that's doing minimal stuff that's more internal, you have tighter security permissions. Then let's say a manager or supervisor might have a little bit more higher privileges than.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. And just back to what you mentioned before about
Mhm,
phishing. So that was yeah. If you get an email with some document or something that's trying to get
mhm,
some information out of the
mhm.
employees, have you seen an uptick in that as far as AI bots are writing emails to people and sending and trying to trick them? Has there been a flood of AIs trying to phish people?
Definitely so. Definitely so.
Uh,
The way email phishing has gone, as well as cybersecurity, but email phishing has gotten really smart as well with the AI bots and everything else, where the email address looks so real that
yeah,
it's like, okay, I just spoke with somebody at my bank at Chase or at Bank of America. These emails look so real. They're coming from these types of major banks, and they're well named bank brands. Like I just mentioned, that they're like, okay, yeah, I'll click on it, and I'll get my spreadsheet that all the bank transactions, but then you realize, okay, I just got a virus. Now it's going to be a mess that's going to need to be
yeah.
cleaned up quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, we get so many emails already, and then
Hmm.
you're kind of just clicking through them quickly. It's very easy to just select one and accidentally just to see what is this email, look at the attachment, and then by that time you've already let the virus in. So, but so I mean, if there's such a numbers game with AI producing all of these phishing emails. How do you guys combat that?
So what is that's a good question. So this is where certain rules, firewall rules within the company's network needs to be applied. That's one thing. But also there are certain there are endpoint security measures for each person's workstation, both if they're physically in the office or virtually if they're working from home. There are certain security endpoint measures that are put in place that are being monitored through different companies, like if we companies using Cisco, some companies using Sophos or whatever it may be, or they're using the Microsoft features of Defender. So as well, so these types of IT security services from the companies I just mentioned will help deter and stop from these types of emails coming through and get into a person's email box. Now, I can't say it won't be 100% all the time that it won't get
Uh,
through, but you can minimize the damage very low. This way, the person getting an email phishing scam will happen very little.
okay, so those services, these third parties, they're pretty good these days at filtering out the bad emails.
Exactly. Yes. Now again, email addresses will change as well as you and I know
Yeah,
that. So you have to stay on top of it as best as
right.
possible. Like I said, we can't say 100% it won't get through, but we could say I say maybe about two, maybe 1 to 3% it might get through. So, but the rest, you will be secure depending on the company's IT infrastructure is built out.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. And so yeah, of course, this is an ever-changing field.
Hmm.
As you guys adapt, the adversaries adapt. But
Hmm.
did you have, as you getting into this area, a mentor that brought you up to speed, that told you the good techniques to use at that time in order to get into this space and be an effective security guy?
Yeah, yes, and a lot of it was on the job training. When I first started working in, on Wall Street, for 10.5 years, and
Yeah,
I was part of a great team in the IT department. We were a group of 12, and my boss at the time and was a great mentor to me, and as well as the higher ups, the IT executives were great mentors to me as well. And in this, again, to IT security space, the backup and recovery solutions, how to do quality assurance for uh, for computer hardware, computer software, stuff like that. They were great mentors to me as well. So that's how I gained my knowledge and the responsibilities in business as well.
yeah. No, it's always great to have a good mentor. I do wonder though, in an area that's changing as quickly as cybersecurity, is it?
Hmm.
Do you find that some people coming in new to the field that maybe just learn a lot of new techniques? Is it um is it are they bringing a lot into the field that maybe is on the more cutting edge, or is it more that the senior people tend to be more well versed in the things that they've seen over the years that worked very well? Is there an advantage to being new, or is it really just the more experience you have, the more you know what to look for? I mean, obviously, in general, you want to have more experience, but I just mean for new technologies, new adversarial things, that kind of stuff.
So that's a good question. So for people, for men and women looking to join the IT force get into the tech area, especially let's say we use it for the cybersecurity. There are a lot of new services out there to deter adversaries, to prevent uh, uh, disasters from happening in that area. Whether when you're a new person in this area, especially cybersecurity, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn the basics first, which is needed. You're going to need to take certain requirements, test requirements for certification, in that respect. And from being a beginner to an experienced person like myself, being so long in the IT industry, you will gain knowledge from different people, and you see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. People say, a person will say, I this is how I take care of this cybersecurity issue, and if I was like, okay, that's interesting. Now, so if I use that same advice and try to use it for the same scenario, it may not work because it may be a different environment that that person tried it
Uh,
in, or something like that. So I listen, I take into what people are saying to me, give me like different knowledge in areas and recommendations, and I apply it to what my skill sets already have right now, and see if it would be a good solution for it.
yeah, no, I agree with that viewpoint because it is important to take in different ideas and learn
Hmm.
from new theories and stuff. But at the end of the day, you
Hmm.
have to see what empirically right in front of you is actually working or not. And if it's not, then yeah,
Exactly.
you could assume maybe it was a different environment they're using or
Hmm.
whatever it might be. But you can't ignore the fact of what's working and what's not working. So that's the most important part. Yeah,
Exactly, Brendan. That's because you go whether you're working for a company for 5 years, and then you move on to another company, you stay there for 20 years, whatever it may be, or you stay a year or 6 months, doesn't matter. Each company you work for that you're going to be a part of is going to have a different type of process on how they do things, but the IT principles still stay the same, though.
right. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. And what would you say is eventually the vision for your company? Are you planning on being like the expert in disaster recovery, or do you want to expand out into other areas of IT, or what's eventually the long term goal?
Long-term goal is being the expert in my area for this for disaster recovery and content and business
Yeah.
continuity, where I think there's a lack of exposure to this for small medium-sized businesses. Mid-market and enterprise level companies have their internal staff, and they have the resources to do it with, where more small medium-sized businesses, not so much in this
Okay. Yeah.
area. They may lack the number of internal employees, and the IT knowledge may be minimal, if any, or they may just have one person that's doing it all, which sometimes that can be overwhelming, depending on the type of industry you might be working in, whether it be healthcare, it could be legal, whatever, some examples like that. So, this is more of I love this more of a passion in what I do, and what I'm trying to help businesses understand, and how to prepare for when it happens, or if it will happen. This is my long-term goal, to do this in this area, and to provide these services that I think are important factor, not just having the latest mobile app that just came out, or the latest um, uh, new thing that just came out that everybody's a craze of. Okay, that the new AI startup that just came out, and it's
Yeah.
going to do this, and this. Okay, that's great. It's going to solve this problem. Okay, but how are you going to do? What is their internal perspectives going to be? Meaning from their secure IT security. How are they doing that? So
Yeah.
this is where I thrive in that environment. To make sure that any type of new business that's going to be a hot thing, and they're going to make a lot of money, but they got to have the IT security behind it as well, so they don't get caught with their pants down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. We get yeah, so focused on the new thing that's going to
Yes.
really shake things up and innovate things, but we can't forget that's it's all built on a stack that's been built up over the years that you can't get rid of all of that. And you need to make sure that stack is healthy before, so that when you do build something on top of it, that something bad doesn't, something horrible doesn't happen to your data or whatever it might be. So that's definitely important. And what would you say your company does that either like is innovative or sets it apart from other people in the disaster recovery space? Like, is it, whether it's a different strategy? I know, of course, you just mentioned like getting down to the important
Hmm.
facts of disaster recovery. You know, blocking out the noise, but but yeah, just if you could tell me a bit more about the strategy that you guys take.
So yeah, that's a good question, and a lot, when people, each person will have a different answer in that for that type of question. For me, it's always a direct approach, a transparent, having total transparency,
Yeah,
having that open trust communication. Not, you'll hear people saying that, in that, and others will, you won't hear saying that. But for me, this is my own professional opinion, where you'll get trust, you'll get open transparency from me, being on top of things when an issue arises. You'll know that that my company will keep you up to date as to what's the latest status, what's going on with that particular issue, how long it'll take to be resolved, and that. So for that, and it's I want the customer satisfied clients. Okay, you get so many clients, but how is their customer satisfaction? How's their customer service doing? Is it poor? Are they not getting the satisfaction that they deserve for the money that they're paying on a monthly basis for it, especially if it's as a subscription model?
yeah. Yeah, no, I'll never disagree with the customer centric approach because I mean, at the end of the day, it's the only person deciding whether or not to keep buying your product is the customer. So it really,
It,
they, as they say, the customer's never wrong because they can't be wrong about their own opinion. So
exactly, exactly. When you're working with like big companies, sometimes the customer service quality is bad, and like, okay, I'm paying so much money. Why am I getting poor customer service from this company that I'm paying for? And I could go somewhere else where I think I will get better quality service for the same price.
right, yeah, and once you have a bad relationship with the customer's gonna look at everything that you do through a different mindset, and so it's just going to shade everything in kind of a worse color. So it's just not a good state for your customer to be in where they're dissatisfied with the service. So yeah, definitely good to stay in the customer's good graces always. Um, and so yeah, you mentioned you're born and raised in NYC. What was it
Hmm.
like starting a company in New York? I know you said you worked with some hospitals here. I'm not sure if those are you use some of those connections for your company to get them as clients or not. But yeah, what's it been like here in New York starting a company?
So Solar company in New York is great. Being your own boss, or being an entrepreneur for yourself is great. There's a lot of competition in any industry. No matter if we're here in NYC, or we're living in, could be in San Francisco or any other type of major metropolitan city here in the U.S., or outside the U.S. Um, there's always going to be some type of competition. It's what can you bring to the table that's different from everyone else that's in your area?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. No, that's definitely true, and it's yeah, yeah, I guess, yeah, there's so many, competitors. It is a very competitive place in New York. There's a lot of
Hmm.
different people, but there's a lot of opportunity too because it is a big
Yes,
ecosystem. So,
true.
it is good to, there are a lot of different niches that you can find and carve out for yourself. So that makes it nice. Even though it's competitive, there's a lot of, there's a diverse landscape to find, places that might be a good spot to start a company, good, niche to start a company in. Um, and how about the industry in general
Mm.
for IT or for cybersecurity? Um, uh, maybe specifically for disaster recovery. I'm assuming there's always just more and more threats on the internet or just in general in IT. How are things going? Is it growing quickly? How is it?
Yeah, so it is growing quickly, especially in the cybersecurity area. This also has to do with cybersecurity. It also has to do with, not just a PC or a Mac. We're also speaking about mobile smart devices as well, such as a smartphone, and everything like that, from tablets.
Right.
So right, so it's just not an internal threat in a physical company environment. It's the external, when people are working remotely, whether they're working from home or at a coffee shop. They have to work on their laptops, tablets, whatever it may be. There's threats there as well. So this is where people don't think that they're vulnerable to this. Some people think they're invulnerable to these types of threats, from a ransomware to a simple Trojan horse virus as well. So that's where the certain types of IT security measures, would be laptop or tablets. These measures have to be in place. This way, when if the antivirus program catches a potential virus that's going to hurt that particular piece of hardware, it will block it. It will quarantine it until it can be removed from it as well. So there are there are different softwares out there that will good measures for security out there. Now, I don't recommend companies or people individually getting the free version, and it's just not worth the time and effort.
Yeah.
Buy if you're a consumer,
Fine.
buy
Yeah.
a paid subscription. A few of them that I like, both personally and professionally. I like Semantic Norton. I like McAfee. Those are just my personal picks. So there are others out there that have great services as well. But these are just my own personal professional opinions that I love to use and work with.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that's a good point to not to not cheap out on the with the free version.
Exactly.
And as you mentioned, yeah, a lot of people feel like it won't happen to them, and that's how we all feel like when we're first growing up. Oh, there's no such thing as risk, but then something happens,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden you have to readjust your whole model of the way things work. You get into some car
Exactly.
crash or whatever it might be, some accident, and then it's
Right.
like, oh, this
Yes.
stuff can happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
and and it's real. In the same way,
It,
I'm sure it's true for cyber. Is
it,
that once you get a cyber attack, you realize, okay, this is pretty important.
Exactly. Yes. And speaking of cyber attack as well, especially in the small, medium-sized business area, those types of companies need to have cybersecurity insurance. Just like you have automobile
Right.
insurance, you
Yeah.
have house insurance. You need to have cybersecurity insurance as well for your company. Uh, and especially if you're a law firm, you're a small financial institution, you're an investment firm, stuff like that, or anything that's data related for data privacy. You need to have this cybersecurity insurance as well, and this is where you'll have protection as well. Will you need to use it? Hopefully not. If
Right.
to, to minimize the company not using their cybersecurity insurance, these are the measures, like I mentioned earlier in our conversation, that needs to be done. So you don't need to use the cybersecurity insurance. It's there as a security blanket. When you need to take it out and use it, it's there for your protection.
Right. Yeah. No, that's definitely important. That's something that I've had to learn about and look into and talk with
Hmm.
some insurance brokers about. And
Hmm.
do you find that usually the insurance, I mean, if you get the appropriate coverage, that the insurance companies are good about paying out when something does happen, or is it pretty clear if you're a buyer of insurance, like what it's covering, and is it a pretty good system?
It is a pretty good system. It's just like any other. It's just like automobile insurance, house
Okay.
insurance. Okay, you need to read the declaration of the insurance policy that you're taking out. What's covered, what's not covered, what is the prerequisite that you're going to need to get insurance for
Yeah.
for cybersecurity. When I see the prerequisite for cybersecurity insurance, I'm speaking about. You're going to need to have certain measures in place within the company that you need to have already done, whether it be an IT audit or a certain type of compliance needs to be done before they approve you for this cybersecurity insurance. Um, just like with automobile insurance, you need to have, just before you're buying a new car or used car, you need to have the insurance, the right coverage for where you live. You have to have the proper stickers on in place as well before you're able to drive it away.
Yeah. No, yeah, insurance is, yeah, something that most of the time, we feel, "Oh, it's a pain I have to pay for this," but when you need it, you're so happy that you bought it, right? Um,
Exactly.
and what would you say is the, you're protected against risk, disaster recoveries. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you faced, so far in this industry?
I think the biggest challenge is, and this is my professional opinion. Everyone's opinion is different. I think the
Yeah,
biggest challenge is that sometimes companies get lazy, and when I say
right,
lazy, I mean they don't take this cybersecurity threat serious enough. And you and I have seen on the local news that this hospital may have gotten hacked, or this oil gasoline company got hacked, stuff like that, and they've been down for over a week. They end up paying the hacker or group of hackers the ransom that they wanted, whether it be in Bitcoin or digital currency, some type of digital currency as well.
right.
And companies don't do enough preventive maintenance on their
Yeah,
computer network systems often, or they're not doing the proper tabletop exercises or drills, because they think they're safe and secure all the time. Um, this is where I see there's a huge misinformation and lack of knowledge and stuff like that that they don't want to always do, and they think it's going to cost a lot of money.
yeah. Yes, no, it's true. I mean, complacency is, maybe I can easily see that being maybe the biggest problem with cybersecurity, because I
Hmm.
mean it's easy to stay alert for a short period of time, but as human
Yes.
beings, we're just not built to stay alert for a decade, 2 decades. We eventually things start to we just start to feel like, oh, things have been fine for the last several years. I mean, it should be fine for the next several years, but then that's exactly when you let your guard down, you stop maintaining things, or
Yes.
you figure, okay, I've been paying all this money out of my pocket for this thing, but it hasn't done anything
Uh,
yet. Nothing's even happened, and then that's when trouble starts.
exactly. I like to use one perfect example, simple analogy. Whether you're buying a new car or a used car, they're going to ask you if you want a warranty or extended warranty on the vehicle, right?
Yeah,
And you know, and depending on, regardless of how much mileage you put on, whether it be low or high, and you keep it for a number of years, 10 plus years or more, whatever, things will start breaking down little by little over time. Okay.
yeah,
And if you don't do the proper preventive maintenance, oil changes,
yes,
charging, making sure your battery's charged in the car, or if it's the hybrid, make sure you have enough gas in the tank as well. Stuff like that. Get routine tune-ups done on your vehicle uh, during the scheduled maintenance period that it's recommended. Doing this will prevent the car from either being on the side of a road, waiting for someone to come and help you, and they have their little flashes on, stuff like that, or waiting for a tow truck. Doing these proper preventive maintenance will help you. Now, can't say that it won't happen. Something won't
yeah.
fail, but but doing these preventive measures will keep it minimal for it to happen to that person.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. I was talking with my friend the other day. A lot of stuff in life in general is just probabilities, right? You can never guarantee
Right.
anything, but you can make the
Yes.
probability, good in your favor. And we have a lot of time, on this earth, and so if you keep those probabilities good over time, then things will probably turn out well for you. So it's good to think of things like that. It doesn't have to be, oh, this time will this prevent something, but just on average, is it gonna make things more favorable for myself over time.
Exactly.
But speaking of, I mentioned before, it's tough to stay alert over those long periods of time.
Hmm.
Are there AI solutions though on the cybersecurity side, or other like of course, any machine is infinitely more patient than we are. But just since AI is a hot topic now, are there any
Yes.
AI cybersecurity tools that are being used now?
Yes, most definitely. Whether AI is in all different areas, from Microsoft Copilot to
Yeah.
Gemini to other AI tools out there. AI is definitely is involved in the cybersecurity area 100%. Uh, for predictive analysis, risk assessment, and those types of services. Prevention, from threat prevention, monitoring and stuff, and different analytics as well. So AI is 100% in the cybersecurity area for services to keep the company or person as secure as possible.
Okay. And when you say Copilot, you're saying like a developer who's creating the system in the first place. Every step of the way, the AI might suggest, "Oh, this is not secure," and then correct those bugs in the code.
Well,
Or no?
I mentioned Copilot, just using as Microsoft Copilot as an AI tool. Now, it is totally a separate thing that what Microsoft Copilot does from AI in the cybersecurity area. So
Oh,
for
okay.
that,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes. So AI's different service tools in the cybersecurity will help, like I mentioned, different predictive analytics, monitoring, threat prevention, so and endpoint protection for that, and risk assessment in these areas that AI force in the cybersecurity services is being used now.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, that's I didn't realize that there was a that Copilot's being used directly for cybersecurity right now. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So yep, definitely.
Yeah. And just one last question here
Sure.
before we sign off. Uh, what would you say is the most valuable insight you've gotten so far from starting a company that you would pass on to someone else who's trying to start one that might be listening to this?
So when you for me, starting my second startup here and learning from my first,
Yeah.
is look what you want to do. Make sure you're gonna love what you do, and
Yeah.
have the drive for it, and don't stop. If you're gonna hit roadblocks left and
Yeah.
right, front and rear, and all around.
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
you don't stop. If you fall flat on your back and you can look up, you can get up.
There you go. I love that. Yeah, no, that's a common theme in entrepreneurship. It gets tough, and you just got to keep on persisting through. I think maybe the most common thing that I've heard from when I asked that question to guess is some form of persistence. Whether it's like you mentioned, having enough passion for it, where you want
Hmm.
to keep going. But yeah, you need something to pull you forward through it because it is going to be tough. Because whatever the odds are of it succeeding, when you keep working on it, the odds are of succeeding when you stop working on it are zero. So you know,
Yeah.
it's 100% more likely to yeah succeed. You continue.
Let me just add one more thing real quick. Make
Yeah,
sure when you start, someone's looking to start their own company, make sure you have the proper alignment with, if you're building a team internally and externally. Make sure you have the proper alignment, that they're aligned with your vision of the company and what you're looking to do, whether it be a product or a service. Make sure you have the right trust, that you know they're going to have your back when you need them. So make sure you have that in place as well. So this way, there's good team collaboration and good and good work environment place.
yeah. No, yeah, from my own experience, I agree with that completely. When
Hmm.
if you're working with someone, even if they're very talented, if you're working in opposite directions of each other, you'll get nowhere. So it's
Right.
essential to be the same culture, at least uh, the same vision of what it is that you're working towards, and what your goals are, and how how to achieve that. So yeah.
Exactly.
All right, well, Ron, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I've learned a ton about the IT disaster recovery space, the cyberspace, and yeah, it's definitely reinforced my own, my own habits of thinking about cybersecurity. So when I continue working on my own projects, I'll hopefully be more secure now. So thanks for that. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I hope the best for your company.
Thank you very much, Brendan. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure speaking with you, sir. And thank you very much. And please, if you want to have me back, I'd be glad to come back as well again.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll check in some period from now, and we'll catch up and see how things are going.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.